Good afternoon, everyone. We're just going to wait a minute or two so that we can populate the Zoom room. Okay. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our Jewish Community Fire Response Briefing for today, January 22nd. I'm Rabbi Noah Farkas, President and CEO of the Jewish Federation Los Angeles, that's putting on this webinar with our dear friends who are here to join us. Just a couple of reflections before we get started. First of all, if you are experiencing some troubling times right now, especially given that there is a new fire that has cropped up just in north of Santa Clarita called the Hughes Fire, and that your Watch Duty app is going off. Just know that we're thinking about you, and lean into those resources if you need it. You always call our essential intake number with the Ezra Network, 855 JFED HLP. That'll be in the chat, I'm sure, at some point this morning or this afternoon. And I just want to say that Federation, the Jewish community, we're not just here for our community, our Jewish community, but we're also here. We're part of the Los Angeles community writ large, and that's why we're here to help. Last week, I spent some time touring the Palisades and Altadena, and I can just tell you it's pretty haunting to drive and see block after block of buildings just kind of destroyed. The first thing I remember is the smell and just understanding what that like smelled like, especially in Palisades where it gets mixed with the beach air, which is so nice. Just this back and forth was just quite powerful. And the second thing I remember is just seeing the color, such a vibrant community, sort of reduced to ash and yellow and gray and browns. It's quite difficult, but the other thing I'll say, and then I'll definitely turn it over to our team, is that this wave of destruction, which feels unprecedented, this wave of pain and suffering that's across hundreds of thousands of people in our beloved community, is also being met with a wave of love, a wave of people volunteering and donating money, a wave of people taking in strangers and friends into their homes to sleep on couches and beds and guest rooms, and a wave of international community. Our federation system across the country has mobilized itself to help us out. And even internationally, whether it was firefighters from Mexico or Canada, or even a delegation from Israel came here to the Southland to try to help out. So when I think about how painful everything has been in the last couple of weeks, or maybe even in these moments, I also think about how grateful I am for the outpouring of love and support that we have for each other. So just remember that we're here for you. Our federation has been here for over 100 years, and hopefully will be here for 100 years more, helping protect, ensure a safe, joyous, connected, and loving Jewish community here and across the world and in Israel. And again, if you need that help, if you need help right now, just call 855 JFED HELP, and we'll get into our central intake number that a member of our Ezra network will get back to you right away. I'll turn it over now to our Chief Impact Officer, Becky Silberman Stern, who'll give you an update and help us through the webinar. Nice to see you, Becky. Glad you're
To
here.
see you, and let me say our deepest thanks to Rabbi Noah Farkas for his leadership and leading our Jewish community through this time. As the Chief Impact Officer, I want to tell you that the community has come out for us, the global community, the national community, the Federation community, and we are raising dollars. But even more importantly, as we think and care judiciously about how every one of those resources is spent, we work with partners, we leverage those dollars, and here at this point, we have made some grants that are helping our Jewish community and helping the greater Los Angeles community. We know as a Jewish community that we are a part of a greater whole. So certainly, we thank and continue to thank the LA Fire Department through their foundation. We want to make sure that people who need help can do it with dignity. So we have given resources to many a rabbi's discretionary fund. We are helping provide meals and food, kosher meals and food to the community through Our Big Kitchen Los Angeles. We are making sure on the east side of town at one of our very own camps, Camp Bob Waldorf, that there is a pop-up camp so families can drop off their kids as they are navigating very tough waters and tough scenarios. And we care deeply about individuals, making sure that they are provided with what they need. So we continue to give emergency grants and use our whole case management system, which you will hear a lot about in a little bit, to help individuals and make sure that they get the resources they need. So during today's webinar, our speakers will share updates of the impact they are making, the challenges that have emerged, and the array, the multitudes of resources. And we invite you to submit questions throughout the discussion by using the webinar Q&A function. Speaking of leadership, we are blessed to have two of our city's leaders with us here this afternoon, and I now have the pleasure of introducing one of our local leaders who has been tirelessly responding to these tragic fires. I'm listening to you every single morning, Supervisor, as I drive to work. Over the past few weeks, LA County Supervisor Lindsay Horvath has participated in daily press conferences, met with constituents, been on scenes of the burn sites and emergency operation centers. Thank you. Thank you again, Supervisor. And I now hand it over to you to give us some critical updates.
Thank you for including me. Thank you for creating this incredibly meaningful space with all of your members. I know in the Pacific Palisades and throughout the Palisades fire area, tens of thousands of Jewish community members have been impacted by this fire. And so having the Jewish Federation of Los Angeles as a place to bring people together to provide comfort and resource and support in this time is incredibly meaningful. We here at the county stand at the ready. We've certainly heard from people that when we get out of this moment of emergency and we get into the longer phase of recovery, there's concern that, there won't be help at each of those stages. And I am here to offer my commitment that at every stage, Los Angeles County 3rd District Office and all of our county services are here to support you every step of the way. And we are grateful for the partnership that we have with the Federation to ensure that we can meaningfully show up in this very difficult time. I know the Knesset Israel synagogue is still standing, but it needs to be cleaned and supported. I know the Chabad of the Palisades has suffered some damage. And so we in our district are prepared to work with our community organizations, our religious leaders, and of course, all of our faith communities to ensure that these incredibly meaningful places of worship and community are supported in the rebuild, and that the people who occupy these spaces also are supported in this time. At this moment, the Palisades fire specifically is at about 68% containment. What that means is the fire as a whole, the large flames that you have seen in many of the reports are now extinguished, and 68% of this entire nearly 24,000 acre area has been contained. So the debris has been cleared out. Any lingering hotspots have been addressed. And so that is what the process of containment is. It's not just putting the fire out, it's making sure that it doesn't have the opportunity to be reignited. And so it's a very arduous work, but it is ongoing. And we thank our firefighters and all of those who are on the front lines to ensure that this entire area is contained and that we are able to move forward safely with recovery. The recovery phase, phase one of cleanup will be led by United States Environmental Protection Agency, which has invested $100 million, more than 500 personnel on the ground to do the hazardous waste cleanup to ensure that this region is safely cleaned up. And this effort will be led in partnership with Los Angeles County and our state and federal partners. This phase one, people do not need to opt into. It is happening automatically. This is the hazardous toxic material that is existing in our neighborhoods. Phase 2 of the cleanup, which will be led by the Army Corps of Engineers in partnership with the EPA, state and county, will require that property owners authorize access either to the Army Corps of Engineers or to a private contractor to do the additional fire debris cleanup that will need to be done property by property. And so that phase will follow the EPA's initial cleanup phase. This is something that we say opt-in, meaning you either authorize access to the government or to a private contractor to do it. If you authorize a private contractor, you still have to go to the standards that we have outlined through public health and through all levels of government. But we want to make sure that you have the option on who provides that service, but it is not optional to provide that service because it is a danger to the surrounding community if we do not go through this cleanup process. So we are here to help you every step of the way, and the government will do it at no cost to you so long as you grant us access in that second phase. We have partnerships throughout the region on the infrastructure rebuild, both for our flood control district as well as for our roadways. Our flood control district in Los Angeles County will be the lead entity. We have, thanks to an executive order from our governor, the authority to take the lead role on this effort, not only for the unincorporated areas of Los Angeles County, but also for the cities of Los Angeles, Malibu, Pasadena, and Sierra Madre. And so what this means is all of the sediment that goes into our stormwater and flow and debris flow systems, all of that will be addressed by our flood control district, which is led by our Department of Public Works in the county. We also will take the lead in rebuilding and repaving roadways and making them safe for passage going forward. And so this is an effort, once again, that will be led by Los Angeles County in partnership with all relevant agencies. And this is not only important for rebuilding, but it's also important to ensure that when we face the rains and precipitation that is predicted, that any sort of land movement and slides that may possibly occur, that we are prepared to address them and that we are taking a lead role. Right now, you will see K-rail being placed, sandbags, and other precautionary measures being taken in advance of the rains that have been predicted. We are moving forward urgently on repopulation. We know that many people are eager to get back to their homes. I will say, given what I just described about the toxic cleanup, if you can wait, especially if you have children or older adults in your household, I encourage you to do so. I know many people are eager to get back to their properties, and so we are moving quickly to provide as safe a condition as possible for you to come back quickly to assess your property. But I will say I would not linger in these areas, especially in the severely fire impacted areas, because there's a lot of cleanup that still needs to happen. If you do go back, what will happen is you will be staged with an escort, and Department of Public Health staff will be on site to provide you with requisite PPE. This includes an N95 mask, gloves, bodysuits, and other protective gear. And we strongly encourage you to wear it when you go back to any fire impacted sites, because the toxic debris that remains there is incredibly harmful. That being said, we also have utility personnel on the ground to help clear out down power lines, to secure any open gas lines and make sure that they are secure from any potential explosion or any other safety issue. We know that do not drink warning continues in the Waterworks District 29 area, as well as for some other water impacted areas. So please make sure that you are not drinking that water, that you are using bottled water, and we can provide that for you from the county. There are a variety of services that the county is providing at our disaster recovery centers. The closest one for the West Side is the former West Side Pavilion, now the UCLA Research Park. It is open every day from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. And I've heard feedback from residents who thought that this might be for people who have lost everything and who are in the most destitute of circumstances. And I will say these centers are for everyone. 911. If you have questions about FEMA assistance, if you have questions about small business administration assistance, if you need to get your driver's license replaced, or any advice from the county assessor on your property tax assessment, you can do all of that in a one-stop shop on site there. And feedback that we have gotten is that people who tried to do this on their own took several days, but when they went on site in just a couple of hours, they were able to address a lot of their questions and concerns. So we strongly encourage you to visit the disaster recovery centers. I will also say that on site, we are providing public health supports and mental health supports. And I know that people are experiencing a range of emotions. Some are still in a state of shock. Some are, deeply heartbroken, anger, frustration, so much that people are feeling out there. And we want to make sure that you are supported with proper services and care. We do have professionals who are able to speak to children and who have been particularly impacted. We know so many schools have been impacted, and it's really difficult to have these conversations with our young people. So we have specially trained professionals on site who are prepared to speak with anyone who wants to talk with them about the trauma that you have experienced. There are a variety of services ranging from transportation and more, all available at the Disaster Recovery Center sites. But please know, I want to end where I began, which is we are here for you every step of the way. I am incredibly sorry for the pain and hurt and trauma that everyone has experienced through this devastating crisis. And I know that by working together, we will support you in rebuilding your community in a way that brings you back together in all of the ways that were so special about the Palisades and beyond. I know people have shared such important and heartening stories about the connections that they had in this community and why it's so important for everyone to be able to safely return. And we will fight like heck to make sure you're able to do so. Thank you once again for including me, and please stay safe.
To the team out there, you need to give me access to my video. Thank you, Supervisor, for taking the time to share all those details with us. Now we turn our attention to another leader, District Attorney Nathan Hochman, a longtime member of the Jewish community and friend of JFED LA. His strong leadership and messaging in recent days has shown that through this crisis, we will not allow looters, scamming, or price gouging. So, District Attorney, I turn this session over to you, and we again thank you for your leadership.
Well, thank you very much. My family and my involvement with the Jewish Federation goes back to the 1960s. And for the last 6 decades, we've always looked at the Federation as the other 911. And once again, the Federation has stepped up to deal with people in our community to help sort of provide those additional resources beyond what the government, law enforcement can even provide. And thank you. Thank you very much for doing it. And Supervisor Horvath, I don't think she sleeps. She is everywhere. Her information is always spot on and the most current and timely. So thank you very much for always being there for our community. Now, I have seen in this crisis of the fires both probably the best and the worst of humanity. I'll start with the best. I've met with and spoken to firefighters who literally are putting their lives on the line and have done so to keep those fires at bay, to actually save lives, to save homes and property in situations that were unprecedented. And they have been met not just with firefighters, quite candidly, from LA City and LA County, but I've seen fire engines from Rialto, from Poway, from Redding, California. I've seen them actually from out of state. And the efforts that have been gone into to get those fires under control are unprecedented. So too in law enforcement. I've seen law enforcement officers literally carry people from a convalescent home in the Eaton fire area. You might not have known that, but there was a convalescent home that had 200 people who could not be moved. And they didn't know exactly what was going to happen as those fires were approaching that home. Eventually it takes out that home. They sent bus after bus, and law enforcement officers were literally carrying these people onto the buses to get them out of harm's way. And they have patrolled our streets and done their best to keep us safe. And they, along with the National Guardsmen, get my eternal gratitude. But let me put one more category of people out there that have been amazing. That's all of the folks who have evacuated. I mean, we have done an unprecedented evacuation of hundreds of thousands of people in Los Angeles County in a way you probably couldn't have predicted before. I'm one of those. I was evacuated for 10 days out of my home, and my sister tragically lost her home in the Pacific Palisades area, along with hundreds of her friends, thousands of people, both in the Palisades and the Eden Fire area. To describe it as apocalyptic when everyone gets a chance to see it, you'll see what we've been seeing. I mean, it's effectively turned a color movie into a black and white movie. It's almost like watching a moonscape. But it has brought out a bonding of people in our community from across communities that has been absolutely impressive. And I'll share one more thought on this lines with you. Government. I've actually seen state, city, local, federal governments work better together since January 7th than I might have seen in a whole long time. Because it turns out in the middle of a crisis, jurisdictional boundaries got lowered. Political squabbles got put to the side. The whole idea was the mission, and the mission was to get these fires under control, and now the mission is recovery. But let me deal with one aspect of humanity, which is, in my mind, the worst aspect of humanity that we are working incredibly hard to send a message to. And that's the people who are the criminals who view this as an opportunity to exploit a crisis, to take advantage of people in their lowest moments, when they've lost their houses, when they've evacuated, when they're basically trying to just recover. The criminal element has entered. Let me give you a couple examples. Looting. We have basically now charged over 24 people with looting in the various fires, and the sentences they are looking at are severe. The minimum sentence so far is 3 years of state prison as a maximum sentence, 6 years, 9 years, 12 years, 22 years, depending on your criminal history. And for the 3 strikers who are engaged in looting, that is a 3rd strike, life in prison is the maximum sentence. And again, we have sent this warning message to the criminals to make it crystal clear what's going to happen. It's a question not of if, but when you will be arrested. You will then be prosecuted, and then you will be punished to the full extent of the law. I view these actions in this crisis as despicable, and we will treat the people who've committed these actions in that exact fashion. So we've seen looting going on. We've seen arsons going on. And right now, there's a Los Angeles regional task force that is dedicated to determining the cause and origin of each of the major fires. That's going to take a little while because firefighters have been busy putting out fires, and law enforcement have been busy with stability and security exercises. But they have flown in some of the experts from the ATF who specialize in cause and origin analysis, and they will determine those causes and origin. If it turns out that anybody intentionally set those fires, that is arson, and they will be prosecuted, again, to the maximum extent of the law. But in the meantime, we've actually arrested and are prosecuting people in various cities, like Azusa or in Brentwood, where individuals just decided that this is their time to light something on fire. It's never been a time to light something on fire, and if they have chosen this time to do it, really bad time, because I've got law enforcement up and running to do these arrests. I've got prosecutors in my office ready to prosecute, and they will be prosecuted. And the maximum sentence these arsonists are looking at is 9 years of state prison. Now we're dealing with another issue called price gouging. What price gouging is that if you were someone who is renting or selling a house before the wildfires, and you had a price, and now you want to take advantage of people who desperately need these types of services or rentals, and you raise your price more than 10%, you've engaged in price gouging. That will land you in jail, there'll be civil penalties, and you will be publicly shamed. And we are having dozens and dozens of reports of people who have decided to take advantage of this crisis on the backs of everyone who's suffering and trying to get these needed services and goods. And again, this will not end well for you. And what I've said very publicly is that if you have engaged in price gouging, stop. Give back the money to the people you've stolen it. Give back your ill-gotten gains. And we will take that into consideration in deciding whether or not to prosecute you. But if you want to keep your ill-gotten gains and continue to engage in price gouging, this will not end well for you. That is a promise. The other aspects and warnings I want to send to people are on financial scams. And there's 3 of them that we're seeing. One is that for all the people who want to donate money to this cause, again, go to reputable organizations like the Federation, like the Red Cross, like the Los Angeles Fire Department Foundation. You can go through recovery.lacounty.gov to find additional legitimate organizations that you can get the money to, and they know how to get the money out in an appropriate way. Because the criminals are targeting the donors. And they're saying, okay, why don't you send it to a GoFundMe site? But it's not the legitimate GoFundMe sites that are actually doing great work. It's the fake GoFundMe site. And if you link into it and give them your personal information, they'll exploit your personal information. If you give them money, they will keep it and it will not go to the victims, and you will be ripped off. So please, please, before you part with your money, and I certainly encourage anyone who wants to donate, please donate. Make sure it's going to a reputable organization. Make sure that the links you are using to send it are trusted links. The second type of scam is an insurance scam. People are targeting people who are now trying to get insurance claims processed by saying, pay me money up front, and I'll get your insurance claim processed for more money, faster, in these type of situations. Again, some of these are completely legitimate, but very often there can be scams out there. Beware. And the last scam is government benefit scams. What we are seeing is that there are going to be billions of dollars of federal and state money coming into Los Angeles. And sadly, that while that money should be going to wildfire victims, people are going to try and rip that money off and try to entice the victims to give them access to their money. Do not fall victim to these scams. If you have any questions, please go to the DA's website, Los Angeles County District Attorney's website, the Los Angeles City Attorney's website, the Office of the Attorney General of the State of California. Huge resources exist to make sure you do not get ripped off, and as importantly, report the criminals. Because the criminals, and this is the message, if you're watching, I don't think you're probably watching this, but maybe this message will get to you. We will come after you. We'll throw the whole book at you. Don't commit this crime. My goal is to deter these folks from committing these crimes, saving a whole lot of wildfire victims in the process. But if you want to cross that line, there will be real consequences. So I wish everyone to stay safe. We're turning into the recovery phase of our operation, and we will be vigilant on the district attorney's office level, law enforcement officer level, to allow you to focus on what you need to focus on, which is your recovery.
Thank you so much, District Attorney. We are proud that you are a member of our community and proud of everything that you are doing. Thank you. I want to give you a little bit of data on our own community. What we know to date, these are approximate. About 450 members of our Jewish community have lost their homes, and that impacts about 1,300 individuals. Another approximate number, 475 families are in uninhabitable homes, and that equals about 1,500 individuals. And we know that about 50 plus families have lost their businesses. I share these statistics with you because we are now going to turn to our social service partners, those on the ground that are helping these families, helping these individuals, helping the Jewish community, and helping the greater Los Angeles community. And we are going to hear from 3 amazing partners. Kathleen Kim, who's the Senior Director of the Welcome Center at Maple Counseling Center. We care about people's mental health. Jeff Carr, Jewish Vocational Services of Southern California. He is the CEO. He'll talk about those who may be needing to search for jobs. Diego Cartagena, who we heard from last week, but you can never hear about it enough, which is navigating so many resources out there. And before I turn it over to Kim, I want to make sure that the three of you address 2 to 3 questions, if you would. Very important. What are the 3 things people should know about how you can assist in this moment? Specifics, we would really appreciate it. And can you also describe the process to receive services from each of your respective organizations and kind of the timeline? These are the kind of specific things that people who are in need and people who are looking for help really could use. And so now I turn this program over to Kathleen, one of our partners at Maple Counseling Center, and we are quite lucky to be able to partner and use your expertise.
Thank you. First, I want to thank the Jewish Federation for our collaboration and just enabling us to get the word out about what we can do to serve our community. So Maple firmly believes that suffering is not meant to be traveled alone. We are here to walk with you. It is during times like this that we have our greatest opportunity to serve our mission and our purpose as mental health clinicians, providers, administrators. So I really do feel very blessed to be able to share about Maple. One of the things that I want to, and I'm very proud of, is the fact that we are able to offer 6 free sessions to anyone who's impacted by the fires. And what we do is we don't just provide therapy from our Maple therapists, but we've collected a network of therapists throughout Southern California that are providing pro bono services to anybody in the community. We are that hub. So if you need to get connected to a licensed therapist that has specialization in trauma, call us. We will connect you after finding out what exactly your needs are and make contact for you with that pro bono licensed therapist. You don't have to sort through 800 pro bono therapists on a list. That's our job. We are here to assist, to remove any possible barriers for you so you can tend to your most important things, like your family, your safety, what tomorrow will look like. So please, we are here not only to provide mental health counseling, but to connect you with a network of talented therapists who have offered their services at no cost. We also provide free services internally at Maple, up to 6 free sessions for anybody. And if you have a child that needs help because they don't understand the crisis of the wildfires and losing their home and seeing their parents upset like Ms. Horvath had shared, we have a licensed social worker who will be ready to field any calls from our community to tend to that person directly when they call. We've set up licensed therapists to really assist callers in immediate distress as well. Also, I want to point out that we also have a service for insurance navigation. We will have a specialized person who will help you maximize your mental health benefits regarding starting counseling, right? Who wants to be able, if you're in crisis, we don't want you to worry about this. We will do all the back end work for you and find you that therapist within your insurance plan. And if you need resources, fire resources, we will get you started. Do not worry. Just give us a call and we will connect you. We will do all the back end work so you can figure out how to get your life back together and restore the more important things in your life. And all this is just a phone call away. If you call and you need services right away, you will be answered by a live person. That is our mission, is to answer all calls with a live individual and to provide you with your very first session within 48 hours. So if you need help, call us. We're here.
Thank you. Very specific. Jeff.
Thank you, Becky, and thank you, Rabbi Farkas and everyone at the Jewish Federation for bringing this group together and for all the good work you've done over the last few weeks as we face this crisis. JVS SoCal has been around for 91 years, 94 years, and was started by Jewish refugees and immigrants who came to this country seeking a better life. And our North Star for the last almost 100 years has been job training and job development and helping people find economic stability and opportunity. And so there's really 4 ways I'd just like to quickly share that we can help. First of all, is immediately, we have a huge presence in the veterans community here in Southern California. And we already have been providing service for the last number of years related to veterans who are experiencing homelessness. So we have assistance with rapid rehousing, help with job readiness, career coaching and training that can help them get back to work very quickly. And also we have a peer network where they can actually get in partnership with the LA County Department of Mental Health, where they can get peer supports and also mental health treatment as well. And all of these services are available. If you go to our website, you can get information on our veteran services. So if you know of veterans who are really struggling, please do send them to us, because we can get them a lot of support that they may not just get in general because they happen to be a veteran. The second one is we're part of the Ezra Network, which is funded by the Federation, and our role in that particular program and assistance, along with our partners there in the Jewish Family Services and Betzedek, is to really focus on helping with job assistance, search assistance, and career coaches. As many people have been displaced now in terms of their workplace and need to kind of think about a different career change, we got a lot of resources to help folks with that. The third thing is our West Los Angeles America's Job Center, which is in Culver City, just a couple blocks south of Jefferson, where Jefferson drops into Sepulveda. We have a facility there. We're co-located with the Employment Development Department, so particularly people that were impacted by the Palisades fire on the west side. We can help with job readiness, career coaching, access to training, assistance with finding a job, and actually benefits. We can get folks who need to get on unemployment insurance for a period of time. We can get access to those benefits through the EDD that's co-located with us there. And then the fourth and last thing is just, we also have support for businesses. I think it was mentioned there were 50 businesses in the Jewish community that have been disrupted or lost everything. And we, along with the county, we provide rapid response services to businesses. And this includes helping businesses with layoff aversion services, connecting them with county resources and loans, and then also helping their employees get back to work quickly or get the kind of retraining they need to get into a different career if the business is not going to be able to restart. So those are just a few things that we can do at JVS SoCal, and we're really excited to be a part of this effort with this group here.
Jeff, thanks so much. Between Kathleen and Jeff, we see the many phases of this crisis, whether it's workforce needs, whether it's mental health needs. And so thank you for sharing the specifics of how people can engage and get your services. And now we turn to Betzedek Legal Services and Diego Cartagena, who can talk more deeply about other resource navigations, legal issues that may be coming up for renters, homeowners, and so many other issues. Diego.
Thank you, Becky, and our thanks to all of our partners at the Federation for creating this space and doing such a wonderful job of getting information out. At Betzedek Legal Services, we provide free legal services to low-income individuals, regardless of race, religion, ethnicity, or immigration status. And we are part of a larger collaborative that is currently working to deploy free legal services across the county to those individuals who have been impacted by the wildfires. We are currently located at various of the disaster resource centers in the county of Los Angeles. And so if you would like to attend one of or be present at one of those centers and secure resources from various organizations, including Betzedek, you will find us there and you can secure assistance. You can also contact us directly at our website, or you can call our phone number, both of which are on the screen, and we can provide you with brief advice and counsel point you in the direction of resources. I noticed, for example, that people in the chat were asking about resources related to FEMA. We can point you in the direction of that, and we can start the process of representing you on a court case if that is the appropriate move. Many individuals currently have questions, and in fact, there's an individual who had a question in the chat about their rights as renters and what happens if an individual loses their rental unit as a result of the fire. As in many legal instances of legal questions, the answer is very much fact dependent. It depends in part on your lease. It depends in part on what area of the city or county of Los Angeles that you live in, whether your unit is rent controlled, and various other factors. And we would recommend that folks contact us in order to secure some advice and counsel and get specific answers to your specific circumstances so that you have a path forward on how to proceed. The other resource that we recommend is Stay Housed LA. Stay Housed LA, and you can see the website there on the screen. Stay Housed LA is a collaborative of various legal aids across LA County that work in partnership with the county and city in order to provide eviction defense and other free resources. And they have a number of different resources on their website. And regardless of where you live in Los Angeles, if you go to this website, you will secure services and answers to your questions. The other community groups that have many questions are homeowners. How to apply for assistance from FEMA, how to apply for assistance or applications for homeowner insurance action. And I'm very proud to say that we are holding a YouTube call this Friday for homeowners to secure information on how to apply and secure services from their homeowner insurance program. You can see the URL there. It's not an easy URL to take down, and so we have a QR code. If you point your phone to the screen and open the camera, a little yellow bubble should pop up that will take you directly to this link so you can sign up for this webinar. Our team also has specialties available to help individuals who are small business owners and have been impacted by the fires, workers who have lost their job, lost income, or have questions about unemployment insurance, and many other legal issues. We encourage you to visit our website to secure information. We have a resource page there, and you can contact one of our attorneys to be connected and chat with them.
Thank you, Diego. Thank you to our panelists. And I do believe now there is going to be a slide with multiple QR codes so you can access the services of these partners. I'm going to take some questions, so please submit them in the Q&A function. And as you submit, I'd also like to take a moment to remind you about our wildfire crisis resource page that you can access at jewishla.org/fire. We understand that resource has really been a huge benefit to people. We know that about 3,000 people have gotten on and taken a look and used some of those resources. If you've been impacted by the fires, as you're typing those questions, let me just remind you, please make sure to take these 3 preliminary actions. 1, apply for FEMA assistance. 2, we heard the supervisor talk about this. Look at the public health guidance before you return home. We want to make sure you return home safely and that there are no hazardous materials on your property. If you need support, we also heard the supervisor talk about this, visit a disaster recovery center. I know there was a question in the chat about can anyone go to that center? We don't believe you will be turned away. So I'm going to address one question that I saw in the chat earlier. How does the Federation in particular make its funding decisions? We are an entity that works in deep partnership, professionals and lay people, to make those determinations, and we work with our partners. And they certainly at another time could attest to the questions we ask, the kind of presentations they make, and how we make those decisions very seriously. I will say in this situation, I have had many years of experience managing emergencies, whether it was the shootings at the Seattle Federation, whether it was being deployed to Houston after the hurricanes, if it was after our fires in 2017, 2018. Unfortunately, this is not the Federation's first rodeo in terms of emergencies. So hopefully the team here brings that expertise as it thinks about its distributions. Some other questions, if you'll just give me a moment. And I may turn to our three colleagues here as I take a look at these questions. So I've answered the question about how we make decisions. Bates Zedek, try them again, Diego. There's somebody who says they haven't received assistance. I say try again. Will we be sending contact information for these services via email? Yes, you will receive an email from us after this webinar reminding you. And you can also use some of the QR codes that we've posted and look in the Q&A because some of those links are there. How can you volunteer? Thank you. Thank you to so many of you who have shown action with your feet. You want to help your community. We have now put in our website, and you should look under volunteer opportunities. There are many. Some are short-term, some are long-term, some needs a vetting processes, some don't. So please take a look at that section of our resource guide, and please do continue to help your community. That help is so, so desperately needed. And now, as we draw to a conclusion, and some of these conversations are so hard and our hearts ache, for those who have already been impacted. We worry about the Hughes fire that we have seen in the last hour. My phone has been pinging since we've been on this webinar. So we do certainly worry. And I will turn our program over to Rabbi Sarah Haransky. She is the former chair of our Board of Rabbis. Whenever she speaks, she brings solace to all of us, hope to all of us. And certainly at this moment in time, we know coming together as a community is what will repair our souls, will repair our city, will repair our community. So Rabbi Haransky.
Thank you, Becky. Friends, it's that time to take a breath. A deep breath. It has been really difficult these last few weeks, and I have been inspired by the work of the Jewish Federation and by the interfaith work, congregations opening doors to other congregations. Today alone, there's been a meeting with IC SoCal, which is an interfaith group with the Los Angeles Council of Religious Leaders, another interfaith group, as well as with the Civil Rights Commission for the city of LA. We are working together hand in hand. We are working with one another to help our city. And now we also have to work on building ourselves, and our strength and our continued support of one another comes from a healthy place within each of us. And so I wish to offer a prayer today that I wrote, and I'll ask us once again to just take a breath, turn your shoulders over, turn your hands up so that you can lower that space. Source of life, master of creation, help us as we straddle multiple truths, multiple feelings simultaneously. We are before you with hearts both heavy and grateful, holding together the ashes of our losses and the embers of our hope. Our sadness runs deep. We grieve, we cry, we mourn for the souls taken in the wildfires, the homes reduced to dust, for the precious sacred objects of our lives reduced to smoke. We weep in sorrow for what is gone, for what can never be replaced, for the lives forever changed. Forever changed in sorrow, And simultaneously, we are grateful. We are grateful for the hands that reached out in kindness, for the courage of those who fought the flames, for the generosity that flows like living waters, for the resiliency of the human spirit. For this and more, we give thanks. We wake each morning with a deep inhale and exhale, the breath in that pleads for peace and calm this day, and the breath out that shudders with our prayer, "Oh dear God, oh dear God." With each shaky breath in and out, may we hold the pain with the space for peace, letting it ground each and every step that we take to move forward. Ribono Shel Olam, Master of all things, we pray, as we walk through the valleys filled with smoke, ashes, and shadow, may we be able to see the cracks filling with increasing light, light filled with goodness, possibility, and hope, the light of community embrace. Bless us with the wisdom to rebuild not only our homes, but our hearts and our communities. Baruch atah Adonai, blessed are you, Adonai, who grants us the gift of life. Amen.
Amen. That was very much needed, Rabbi Haransky. Thank you. Thank you. We thank you for attending today's webinar. As a last slide, we put up how you can take a look at our resources and contribute to our wildfire crisis relief fund. And we thank you and we wish you safety and solace. Thank you.